Hey, welcome to the second course video for the song Infinite Baths by Sleep Token from their album Even in Arcadia. I'm musically malnourished and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. In these videos, we do a deep dive into the lyrics and meaning behind the music. So with Infinite Baths, as I've listened to the album a few times through at this point, and just thought more on it and obviously worked through the other songs and their meaning, there's a part of me that wonders, and I'm not saying this for certain, there's a part of me that wonders if the closing to the album, which I will get to in just a moment, how it could possibly not be the closing. Maybe we'll talk about it now. I understand that there was a certain point that it seems they put it into the fans' hands to decide how the album was going to start and end, that Caramel could be the ending of the album. And even at the end of listening to Infinite Baths, I was like, I wonder, just with the long, slow fade out, if it could loop back into the beginning. And in some ways, if you did the album differently, that wouldn't necessarily be the end and beginning. It'd kind of just be within it. So that being said, and I do have another thought on that. So gosh, let me handle one thing at a time. The first is, I wonder with such a hard outro, if there is a bit of irony to that whole argument that Sleep Token isn't metal, because we know they break the fourth wall a lot in this album and speak to some of the issues and current events that were facing the band and Vessel personally. Because within Caramel, you get this really hard breakdown in the song, beautiful song, and then it kind of, as Sleep Token is great at doing, just switches genres on you. And you get this super hard breakdown, and within it, one of the commenters pointed this out, you get him saying, "Tell me, did I give you what you came for?" And part of it is that answer to, well, Sleep Token isn't metal. And it's like, okay, well, here's the metal. Like, we can do it and it can sound awesome. We can scream and we can chugga chugga and double bass and all of that. So like here, like, are you happy now? That I wonder if the ending of Infinite Baths in some way is meant to be kind of that irony too, this slow fade out. I don't know. There's a part of me that they play it and it's hard and deep, and then it just fades out over a long time. If there could be this, like, if this is what you want, we can just keep doing this type thing. The other side of it, and that's what I'll look at here, I'll just play a short section just so we can make sure, we don't get copyright or anything on this video. The closing to Infinite Baths, when I was wondering, does it loop back to look to windward, is really interesting. So let's go in here for a second. And I'll pull this one up like this. Okay, so we're here at the end. Maybe we'll go even further to the end. All right, loud noise incoming. Oh, it's quiet. So bana bump ba bana bump ba dana bump. Bana bump ba bana bump ba bana dun 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 dun. So it does appear that the ending, the way they ended, obviously totally different instrumentally, is the same as the beginning, which I thought was really curious. So all of that being said, let's get in here and look at the lyrics for Infinite Baths. I am going to read the about section on Genius. It's a bit lengthy, but I think it does really set the song up and kind of answer some of the things that we would have to take little side tangents on throughout it. So let's hop in here and take a look together. Okay, Infinite Baths draws its title from a concept in quantum physics. An infinite bath is a theoretical environment with endless degrees of freedom, capable of absorbing energy or information from a system without being changed itself. In this context, it represents a vast, overwhelming force, be it love, divinity, memory, or healing, that Vessel surrenders to. The lyrics chart a journey from isolation and mechanical existence, no lightning in a bottle, to emotional disillusion and transformation. The infinite baths wash over Vessel like a purifying flood, breaking down the old self in the same way a quantum system decoheres when immersed in an infinite reservoir. Yet, rather than destruction, the result is renewal. Frozen becomes fluid, pain gives way to color, and silence is replaced with movement. The recurring question, are you the method in my madness, speaks to the dual role of this force, both chaos and cure, annihilation and clarity. The conclusion of the song, and therefore of the album, references the first song on the same album with a repeat of the line, "Will you halt this eclipse in me?" It speaks of a stubborn hope. After discussing the struggles of fame, feelings of hopelessness, and themes of despair throughout the album, this final song declares, "I am never going back. And even if I'm on my own, I'm finally here, and I'm not leaving this time." Concluding with the line, "I will be what I am." This song suggests that despite the multiple examples of pain throughout both the album and song, despite being so tired inside I could sleep through a landslide, Vessel has accepted the duality of his own existence and has found peace in the madness. Which, again, if you go with the idea that Caramel could have been the closing of the album, I do feel like there is still within this song a nod to us as fans and the relationship we have with their music. I didn't tie that connection in with Gethsemane, Provider, because I really felt like it was a human relationship that was being spoken of, like a personal one-on-one romantic relationship. Whereas I do feel like here we kind of switch back to that idea, especially when you talk about going into Look to Windward and halting this eclipse in him. I feel like it's really this speaking of the dance on the line that we're invited into with Vessel. So let's check out verse 1. "When you plucked me from the grotto, silent like a supermodel, when I would wake in staccato, no lightning in a bottle, just one eye on the target, 2 bricks on the throttle, I know now." So I feel like, again, this could be referencing us in a way, plucking him from the grotto. And this says here, this opening suggests a sudden, almost mythic rescue from darkness or isolation. The comparison to a supermodel evokes elegancy and mystery, implying the act was powerful yet emotionally distant, beautiful but cold. And then obviously it says here, if we take into account the band's lore, the silent rescuer might be sleep, while if we think about it as a broader scope, it could be a person, maybe a lover. So that could be true, but I wonder too if there's some connection there to, hey, look, I was missing. Now I'm here. I was lost and now I'm found. Wonder if that was like that in a previous video. Cool. I don't know. I wonder if there's some connection there to their rise in fame, as have been themes throughout this whole thing, being plucked from the grotto. I would wake in staccato, which staccato is kind of a, here, we'll just read this here. Musical term meaning short, detached notes, abrupt and separated in rhythm. No lightning in a bottle, just one eye on the target, 2 bricks on the throttle. I know now that this just feels to me like his kind of rise within music. That he, and to me, Sleep Token is lightning in a bottle, but they've been around for some time at this point, even though I'm kind of just discovering them. That it really is more like a 10-year journey. So it wasn't exactly lightning in a bottle, but he had one eye on the target, 2 bricks on the throttle, just like he knew what he wanted to accomplish and he was going after it. I don't know. That's what it speaks to me. Let me know if you have a different thought. That even if I am frozen, timeless as a ghost in my nightmares of the ocean, the precipice I'm approaching, Well, you will empty the darkness. You will keep me in motion. I know now. This is why I feel, lines like this speak to those that he's referencing in Caramel. Stick to me like caramel, like you'll keep me in motion. Even as I'm approaching these things, like ultimately you'll help empty this darkness. Infinite baths washing over me at last. Are you the method in my madness? Are you the glory in my wrath? Infinite baths, bursting colors when you laugh. Well, I fought so long to be here, I'm never going back. Yeah, I love this idea, bursting colors when you laugh. Partly in that section too, I started to wonder, I'm like, man, is he talking to himself again? Because he says, I fought so long to be here, I'm never going back. It could be, if you think back to, do you wish that you loved me? Of finding a joy in himself through laughter. And this is a stretch, so I'm kind of just going out on a limb for a second. And I'm not necessarily saying this is just a thought that I had. Because if you are somebody who struggled to laugh, then if you find yourself at some point laughing genuinely, you might be surprised by it. Like, oh my gosh, like, wow, look where I'm at. I remember a time I couldn't laugh. Gosh, that makes my heart break for somebody to feel that way. But it could also be this thing of like, when we laugh, when we enjoy, because even in the live performances, there are times people laugh, and I know there's even been mess ups on the stage and things like that they poke fun at. So it could be this idea of this relationship that we share. Like when I perform and you're laughing and you're enjoying it, like it bursts these colors in me, and I fought a long time to be here and I'm never going back. Even if I'm on my own, when the silence is deafening, I could be stuck here alone. When even my future is threatening, something is lifting in the bones. So he's recognizing like, yeah, there are still these difficulties at time. And I understand I've been talking about some of the challenges I've been facing in our career at this point, but something is lifting the bones. Something is dancing in revelry. And we keep getting this nod to the idea of dancing, throughout the album. This may even mention it. It doesn't, but he's used lines similar to that throughout the album. Wider than the oceans below, taller than titans on box springs. I think this is really interesting, and I do want to go to this Reddit comment because I felt like they explained it really well. Says something is lifting the bones, something is dancing in revelry, wider than the oceans below, taller than titans on box springs. The analogy is something joyous is growing. The joy is strong enough to lift the bones, overwhelming joy to the point that one cannot stand still, which is confirmed in the next line. Something is dancing in revelry. The joy is strong enough to dance in celebration, even from sleep or immobilization. The power of the joyful emotion has been described. Next comes the measurement as the descriptor. Wider than the oceans below. So the ocean is beneath us, but the emphasis is on the width. The ocean's width is off, because even the idea of it being the oceans below continues to point to this idea of elevation, of reaching heights. But then it's talking about specifically the width of these oceans. The ocean's width is often used as an old world measurement of infinite vastness. Taller than titans on box springs. In old world mythological reference, titans were considered taller than the mountains. Box springs are a thing oftentimes confused with a springy mattress, but box springs are actually framework boxes built to support and elevate spring mattresses. The focus there is the elevating. So from old world mythological descriptions, you're measuring by using the tallest beings known to man at the time, and then elevating that height even further by placing them on box springs. So altogether, the joy is powerful enough to raise the dead, make them dance in celebration. It's wider than the vast oceans combined, taller than the highest of heights, and then some. That's some amazingly powerful joy. Yeah, because when I heard box springs, I was immediately like, I think our bed, we recently got a new mattress, and I think it has a built-in box spring, but up until then, we always had a box spring, which is not springy itself. It's literally like wood and fabric. And obviously there are ones that have become more that might actually have springs and things within them. But it literally goes under the mattress and elevates the mattress, and also can provide like a really stable spot for the mattress that kind of has equal weight distribution. And so, yeah, when you talk about titans on box springs, is these great big characters that are even further elevated. So I like the way that it described that. And the waters are warm where they used to run freezing. I think we can understand what he's saying there. Where there used to be storms, my horizon is fleeting. I'm so tired inside, I could sleep through a landslide, but I'm finally here and I'm not leaving this time. So like he's been through it, right? And it's tiring, the work they've put in, obviously even just the things he's had to work through personally. But he's like, but I'm here and I'm not leaving. Infinite baths washing over me at last. Are you the method in my madness? Are you the glory in my wrath? Infinite baths, bursting colors when you laugh. I've been running since I got here, but now I'm falling into infinite baths. And it sounds like, yeah, I'm just kind of surrendering over to this ride, this journey. And he's saying, drift with me. Drift with him in infinite baths. The breakdown. All this glory you did not earn. Every lesson you did not learn. You will drown in an endless sea. If it's blood that you want from me, you can empty my arteries. Will you halt this eclipse in me? Teeth of God, blood of man, I will be what I am. Let's see what this says. Oh, that's long. The theme of this song, I probably won't read all of this. We'll see how good it is. The theme of this song and this album is, on the whole, largely a positive one. Despite the trepidation, things are looking up and Vessel feels as though he's in a new stage of life. He's finally here and he's not leaving. So the entire ending breakdown feels completely at odds with not only the rest of the song, but the rest of this album. It was a really interesting switch. It is possible that this screamed outro is not coming from Vessel at all, but rather from Sleep. Okay, so it leans more into the lore. Another major theme of this album has been combat. From the promotional material Vessel with a sword, the knights fighting off gods, to the sound of sharpening and unsheathing swords in the background of earlier tracks, Vessel has either been engaged in or preparing for a fight this entire album. And by this point, in Infinite Baths, he seems to have ascended and is at peace. Could be that these accusations are not Vessel's self-deprecation or inner demons, but a retaliation from Sleep, who's been put on the back foot and is no longer in control. The power she had over Vessel. If this is the case, then rather a total defeat of Sleep and victory. This ending could suggest the fight has only just begun, and whatever the next album is, it could be largely from Sleep's perspective. Okay. Yeah, I don't fully ascribe to Sleep being much of an active character within the songs. I mean, even from the interviews, I think the most that we really have is them saying that they are writing songs on behalf of Sleep. And even in the sense of when Sleep is used, I think it is always indicative of human relationship or internal battle. But I do like the idea to some degree. But I don't, moving to will you halt this eclipse in me, it still seems to stay on Vessel's perspective. But I don't know, this idea, this glory you did not earn, the lessons you did not learn, you will drown in an endless sea. If it's blood that you want from me, you can empty my arteries. Will you halt this eclipse in me? This says, this gives contrast between divine and human elements, which obviously Teeth of God has been all throughout Sleep Token's music library. Struggle between high ideals, human flaws. In the end, Vessel declares acceptance of who he is, as if embracing the full complexity of his nature, both the light and the darkness within him. It's a powerful statement of self-empowerment where he chooses to accept his true self, confront the forces that have shaped him. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hide it. The end of this album definitely took me off guard. I thought all this was so beautiful and cool, and then it hit the end, and I was like, whoa. Where are we going with that? And obviously it's cool how it kind of connects into Look to Windward. But let me know your thoughts on this one, because it does feel like to a certain extent that there's a part of this that seems like it could be an attack back at him. You know, somebody saying, you didn't earn this glory, you didn't learn these lessons, you're going to drown in an endless sea. It could even still be like, if you want blood from me, you can empty my arteries. But then I don't know, when we get into stuff like this, it still feels like Vessel's perspective could be the other side of him, you know, crying out. The same like within Emergence and Look to Windward, things like that. The idea of stopping this eclipse, stopping the dark from overshadowing the light. So I don't know. I'd be really curious on your perspective there on the end, especially, but really a beautiful album. So much fun to listen to. I actually listened to it this morning when I was on a run. Let me know your thoughts on this one. And I look forward to what Sleep Token does in the future. And you best bet when it happens, I'll be here. So thanks for joining me on this journey. I look forward to exploring more music with you. Feel free to let me know in the comments, you know, if there are people you think I should take a look at. I already do have several that I want to look into already here in 2026, but we'll see what we can do. I'll see you in the next one. We're eating good.